Hi, it's Mitch from PickDawgz.com, and it is Thursday, May the 30th, 2024, here with your first half of the NBA game, as well as all of your first 5-inning picks for today's Major League Baseball card. It's an 8-game Major League Baseball card, and we'll cover it all here. Of course, we always start this show by talking about what happened today in history. Today, in 1982, Cal Ripken Jr.'s streak of 2,632 consecutive games began. I gotta say, I think he's got a lot in common with us here at PickDawgz. I think we got about a many-year streak going of doing it every single day. But Cal Ripken, that was a heck of a streak, and probably one that won't be broken anytime soon. But of course, we have a streak of beating on the books, and we're going to continue that, and I don't see that one being broken anytime soon either. So let's get right into it. For our first game, we head to the Western Conference Finals, where the Minnesota Timberwolves are hosting the Dallas Mavericks. The Minnesota Timberwolves fans have to be pretty excited that there is a Game 5, as things looked dicey through the first 3 games, as it was all Mavericks in this series. But the Timberwolves, with a win tonight, certainly can make it a lot more interesting series and bring the series to 3 games to 2. The thing is that neither of these teams have been great first half teams overall. When you look at them betting them on the money line, over the past season, and even more in some cases here, you can see the graphics on the screen. Yeah, you've lost a lot of money betting these teams in the first half. But the thing that you could have bet the first half is every time the Timberwolves played the Mavericks at home, 9 in a row in Minnesota in the first half on the money line versus the Mavericks at this point. That fact comes from our betting tools at Sports Chat Plays. But we've seen that this is a defensive series all the way. Even though the games have been going over, these are defensive teams. I like the under in the first half of the T-Wolves Mavericks, and that'll be my pick for the first half of this game. For our first game of Major League Baseball card, we go to Tampa Bay, where the Rays are hosting the A's. Just a lot of question marks surrounding both these teams, as neither of them are playing exceptional baseball. We got both these teams are under 500, and for the Rays, 2 games under 500, but still, that's an unfamiliar spot for this team, who generally mucks around that 500 mark, and then around the All-Star break is when they usually start to make their move. Last year, they got off to a fast start, so it was a little bit of a different story, but for the most part, as an organization, these are the guys that kind of a next man up, workman-like effort type thing with no superstars on the team. And I think, this year what we see from them is that they're really just a couple of players short. Sean Armstrong gets the start for the Rays here, but all that tells us is that we have a bullpen game on our hands. But the real story for the Rays is over the last 10 games, hitting just 195 versus right-handed pitching and 192 versus lefties. That is a 195 team batting average, while the A's significantly better at 240 over their last 10. I'll take the A's in the first 5, and that's going to be my pick for this game. For our next game, we go to Target Field in Minnesota, where the Twins are hosting the Royals for Game 4 of this American League Central Series. Chris Paddock on the bump for the Twinkies. It is Brady Singer on the mound for the Royals. And, the Royals finally getting on the board last night in this series after getting manhandled in the first 2 games. Paddock has really been kind of Chris Paddock, the same pitcher that we've seen throughout his career. 4.50 ERA over his last 3 starts. 4.39 for the season, while Singer 2.63 for the season, but 3.38 over his last 3 starts. The thing about Singer is that when he's off, he gives up a lot of home runs. We just haven't seen a lot of that this season. The Twins hitting just 218 versus righties for the season and 212 over their last 10 games, while the Royals 257 versus righties, which isn't close to where they're hitting lefties, but still a solid number nonetheless. I'm going to go with the Royals in the first 5, and that'll be my pick for this game. For our next game, we go to Milwaukee, where the Brewers are hosting the Cubs. Last night, it was the Brewers really just smacking around Shota Imanaga all over the ballpark, and the worst beating that we've seen him take in his short major league career. That .84 ERA is a thing of the past, exactly how we called it in this video yesterday. The thing is, Colin Rea goes to the mound for the Brewers, and his numbers are regressing in a hurry. His 3.98 season ERA, ballooning to 7.20 over his last 3 starts. But Jameson Taillon on the other side for the Cubs, 2.58 for the season, 5.02 over his last 3 starts. And we know Taillon is basically a batting practice pitcher on his very best days. The Cubs are not hitting the baseball, but they have picked it up slightly, 209 versus righties over their last 10 games. At least they're over the 200 mark. And for the Brewers, 239. I know Rhea hasn't pitched well, but I think fading Jameson Taillon has paid for a lot of this stuff around here, man. I'm gonna take the Brewers first 5, and that's gonna be my free pick. For our next game, we head to Seattle, where the Mariners are hosting the Houston Astros. After last night's win, the Mariners have now won 5 in a row against the Astros. And, well, as I said in this video yesterday, I thought Justin Verlander would be the stopper, and he certainly played well enough, allowing just the 1 home run, but it wasn't enough to hold up for the Astros, who didn't convert on some early chances and ended up costing them late. Today, the Astros send Spencer Arrighetti on the mound. He hasn't been very good this season, 6.93 ERA, but down to a 4.96 over his last 3 games, while Logan Gilbert on the mound for the Mariners, 3.06 for the season, 3.38 over his last 3 starts. You know, the Astros have been hitting righties pretty well, 270, but that's down from 305 over their last 10 games. Meanwhile, Seattle just 202 in their last 10 games versus right-handed pitching. You know, I just think that what we've seen in this series and what we see in a lot of Mariners games, is not a lot of anything. I like the under in the Mariners Astros, and that'll be my pick for the first 5. For our next game, we go to Fenway Park in Boston, where the Red Sox are taking on the Tigers. The Red Sox have not been a great home team this season, but they've always played the Tigers very, very tough and have dominated all the recent play between these two teams, with winning 19 of the last 26 meetings with the Tigers. Tigers are also just 24-49 in the last 73 times they've played in Boston, so Boston hasn't been very kind to the Tigers whatsoever. Nick Pivetta on the bump here for the Red Sox. He's got a 4.80 ERA over his last 3 starts, up from 4.2 for the season, while Jack Flaherty has a 3.84 ERA for the season, down to 3.79 over his last 3 starts. Flaherty's been striking out guys like no one's business. We look at the batting averages here. The Red Sox up to 242 versus righties, pretty consistent with where they've been over the course of the season. The Tigers 237 versus righties, but they actually hit them better on the road. Just like Flaherty, better than Pivetta in this one. I'm going to take the Tigers first 5 as my pick for this game. For our next game, we head to Citi Field in New York, where the Mets are taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Boy, it just feels like the Mets are always at home this season, but here they are with Christian Scott on the bump, up against Zach Gallen as they open up this series. Christian Scott, good-looking rookie, but the thing is that the Mets, when you watch the games on TV, they seem to be a lot more excited about him than what the numbers actually say they are, as he's got a 3.97 ERA for the season, and the team hasn't won even one game that he started. A lot of that has to come on the bullpen, though. We don't really look at starting pitchers' win-loss records. And he's got a 5.06 ERA over his last 3 starts. Zach Gallen, 3.12 for the season, 3.66 through his last 3 games. He's definitely not as good a road pitcher as he is at home, and the Diamondbacks really not hitting righties all that well for the season, but their last 10 games hitting him at 251 to 221 for the Mets. I'm going to roll with the Diamondbacks in the first 5 of this game. For our next game, we head to Atlanta, where the Braves are hosting the Nationals. The Nationals certainly took it all out on the Braves rookie starter on Wednesday, and the Braves, look to bounce back here. The thing about the Braves this season, they have been win one, lose one for quite some time at this point. So while, certainly looks like an opportunity to get in there and fade a Braves team that is reeling, at the same time, they're still absolutely stacked. Ronaldo Lopez on the bump for this one with a 1.75 ERA up against Trevor Williams, who's been outstanding for the Nats with a 2.29. Meanwhile, over their last 3 starts, Lopez to a 2.25 ERA and Williams 3.14. So Williams up about a run, while Lopez up about a half a run from his season numbers. The Braves continue to hit righties, 234. The Nats, 245. Those are the numbers over the last 10 games. But over the course of the season, the Braves have been significantly better. I think neither of these teams are going to get a lot of hits early. I like the under in the first 5, and that'll be my pick for this game. For For our final game on the card, we go to Anaheim, where the Angels are hosting the Yankees to close out their series. It's Patrick Sandoval on the mound for the Angels, and it's Carlos Rodon on the mound for the Yankees. You know, Rodon, 2.95 ERA for the season and 1.50 over his last 3 starts, has really cleaned up his act. I thought his numbers weren't indicative of, how he'd actually played earlier this season, but now he has really got it going. While Sandoval has gone from a 5.60 season ERA to 7.47 over his last 3 starts. You know, the Angels' big hope here is that they have pounded left-handed pitching all season long to the tune of 272, and you go to their last 10 games, hitting now 292 versus lefties over their last 10, while the Yankees 239 for the season versus lefties and 222 over their last 10 games. But the problem here is that Sandoval has just absolutely been imploding, and Rodon, he's been on fire. I don't love the pick, but I'll take the Yankees for the first 5. That wraps up today's first 5 innings and NBA first half. Tomorrow, we've got all Major League Baseball, be all first 5 inning picks, and of course, we'll be here to cover every single game. Of course, if you're looking for my best bets and the best bets from the world's best handicappers, 100% documented picks, you can find those over at our website, PickDawgz.com. You just click on the Premium Picks tab. You can use the discount code PICK to take 15% off. If you're looking for cool PickDawgz merch, like the stuff that I wear and stuff that are other people here of our PickDawgz crew wear, those are all available on the website. All you gotta do is click on the merch tab at PickDawgz.com. Anyways, this is Mitch. Thanks again for joining me. Appreciate you guys, and I'm really enjoying this new series here at PickDawgz, covering the first halves and first 5 innings, and plan on doing it for a very long time.